Doctors of Reddit, what's the stupidest patient you've ever had? I worked at a pain management clinic. In an attempt to combat opioid use/addiction/abuse, a lot of patients were prescribed a medicated cream. It looked a lot like sunscreen, and you just rubbed it onto the hurting areas. I watched the nurse carefully and slowly explain how to rub it onto the skin, using small, uncomplicated words, and going through the motions of applying it several times. But every so often, patients would complain that their cream tastes bad. So if I have a tummy ache, I can spread it on a toasted bagel and swallow it, right? Nap, inject it into the brain. That's where all pain originates from. Update. I like the fact that my idea was basically a vanilla lobotomy and everyone just went along with it. Apply directly to the forehead. Ah yeah, I remember when I was a kid and when I secretly ate a whole tube of promethazine because it tasted so good. Then I took a nap and my mom, who is also a doctor, almost had a heart attack when she checked up on me and smelled the air. You were living a SoundCloud rapper's dream. Paramedic. Got a call for a stroke. Patient had facial droop and slurred speech. Says that it feels just like the last time she had a stroke 10 years ago. Says that the symptoms came on about 4 days ago and she knew the moment it was happening that it was a stroke, but didn't go to the hospital because she thought she could make it go away on her own. These stories make me chuckle. I'm also a paramedic and was called out for a stroke. Clearly the man was having a stroke, and upon doing a stroke screen, it looked like the patient had something large in his mouth. Thinking maybe this guy had some sort of oropharyngeal cancer or mass, I asked his wife if this was indeed the case and she looked at me with a very puzzled look. She said no, and then I said what was in his mouth. His wife then said that it's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that she shoved in there. When her husband's symptoms started, she thought it was just that his blood glucose was low, so she tried to force feed this poor man an entire sandwich before she called 911. Job security. My husband was on a call with another paramedic. Other guy is convinced patient is having a stroke without a full assessment. My husband looks at her pupils, sees they are restricted, and asks the spouse if she's on pain meds of any kind. Turns out yes, fentanyl patches. She didn't know she was supposed to remove one before placing a new one. She had 6 total on her body. Removed patches, add Narcan, and she was fine. Stupid paramedic, stupid patient. Double whammy. I have a few examples. Patient who had recently been diagnosed with diabetes. We needed to adjust her blood sugar levels, but she kept eating sweets. So we had a talk for like 30 minutes with her about not eating sweets and so on. She seemed to understand. 5 minutes after the conversation, she went around drinking a soda. Another guy who had a benign arrhythmia, where the heart beats irregularly. He knew that he could get the arrhythmia from time to time, but as long as he didn't faint or get any pain in the chest, he could just take a beta blocker and let it pass. But he went to the ER like 6 to 7 times before he understood that we couldn't do anything. One patient came in for something, can't remember what, and when we ran a test, we found that he had a pH of 6.97. That is on the border of what the body can have and still have any function at all. Red. He should be dead. But he was awake and clear. We wanted to admit him to the ICU and adjust it with the utmost care, but he needed to go home. To eat a shrimp sandwich. Yes, a shrimp sandwich. We sat down and talked to him and his mother for 30 minutes that no shrimp sandwich in the world is worth your life and that if there is something else he needed to get help with, we could help him. But nope, he left. He came back a couple of hours later and we cured his acidosis. But that must have been a mean shrimp sandwich. I wish someone loved me as much as that guy loved his shrimp sandwich. Holy moly, shrimp sandwich guy. He's living proof that some of the dumbest people last the longest in life. Who knows why? They build up an immunity to death. He took all of his intelligence points and sunk them into endurance. Not a doctor but dental nurse. My favorite was a 30-something-year-old woman who came in for a checkup at the emergency low-cost clinic I worked at. Teeth were broken and almost black, and gums were angrily swollen, bright red, and bleeding just from her moving her tongue against them. She needed multiple scaling/hygienist appointments and a debridement. Honestly, YouTube has some amazingly disgusting videos of this treatment, but maybe keep the sound off if you don't like the scraping sound. X-ray showed she had all but her wisdom teeth and 10 fillings, root canals to try and save some teeth, and extractions for I think 3 teeth, but more if the root canals didn't work. Explained everything and did the usual explanation of proper oral hygiene. Asked her if she had any questions, to which she says, "It's okay if I lose this set of teeth, my others will come through." Me and the dentist just looked at each other probably a lot longer than we should have. No words. I couldn't think of anything to reply to that comment. I had a lot of weird and disgusting things happen at that clinic. I actually miss working there. When I was a child, my uncle told me, if you live long enough, you'll get a 3rd set of teeth. It took me a long time to realize he meant dentures. I've met a few people who say the same thing. The youngest person I dealt with for dentures was a 6-year-old. All her baby teeth were so broken down and rotten that we had to extract them all and give her dentures till her adult ones came through. Once she started getting adult ones, she had to have partial dentures made. I've not seen her in a while, but I know she will need extensive orthodontic treatment. Parents don't realize that messing up baby teeth actually affects adult ones. I had to explain to a 17-year-old girl and her mother that she was not in fact allergic to alcohol, but she was just hungover. She complained that on nights when she drank too much vodka, usually on an empty stomach, that she would feel nauseous, flushed and sometimes vomit in the morning. But it didn't happen all the time, and there were no other typical symptoms of an allergic reaction. This one's my favorite so far. It hurts me incredibly though. Also hurts that a 17-year-old would have no idea about the effects of alcohol. Edit. After rereading, I think this means the 17-year-old is the one drinking, and the mother was being explained to. Makes it much more stupid. Aren't there people who are allergic to alcohol? Not this kid, obviously. Yes, alcohol allergy is a thing. Source, my girlfriend's mom will die if she drinks a beer. I'm allergic to alcohol. I get hives and my throat closes up a bit. I could quite literally drink myself to death if I get too drunk and no one stops me. There was a 24-year-old patient who was brought in from a jail in a rural county. He was working roadside cleanup when he found a bottle in a ditch that he thought contained alcohol, and he quickly chugged it down. To be fair, it did look like whiskey. It wasn't. It turns out it was a substance that contained sulfuric acid. Its pH was less than 2.5. It just ate up the litmus paper. So shortly after he gets to the ICU, he is in excruciating pain and vomiting blood. The gastroenterologist took him to do an EGD, basically a procedure where they can look at the esophagus, stomach, and duodenum with a camera attached to a flexible tube, and the pictures were horrendous. You could literally see his stomach and esophageal mucosa eroding away. He had to be sent off to another hospital, where they had an esophageal surgeon who could repair the mess. He, of course, needed multiple surgeries and had a very long hospital stay. I saw him a few months later when he was admitted for another issue. He was down to 90 pounds from about 150 and was getting fed through a PEG tube. He was very lucky to be young and otherwise healthy, but obviously not very smart. My first thought was P. This is obviously worse. Chemistry boy here. 2.5 is really low for sulfuric acid, means that the acid was only 0.00316 molars. This dude's lucky if it was laboratory grade, less than 1 molar, meaning pH equals 0 at this point. It would have instantly melted through his throat. My wife is an RN who works at an outpatient surgery center. Cataract surgery is one of the common surgeries that they do. Patients are told that after the surgery, they should put eye drops in 4 times a day for 1 week, so 28 drops altogether. One patient asked if it would be okay to just put the 28 drops in all at once, so they didn't have to deal with it for a week. I heard an ad for dropless cataract surgery last week. Apparently it's a thing. The horseless cart. Just push on it. Just fill up swimming goggles with the eye drops. Much less hassle. So if you are supposed to drink 2 liters of water a day, why not just drown yourself with 16,000 gallons of water? You would be set for the next 100 years. I'm surprised they could even work out the maths for that one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribing for more videos like this. Don't forget to leave your stories in the comments below.